I know, it's wonderful.
Love that baby. We're going to babysit tomorrow night.
Oh, good. What are they going to do?
They're going to go out for the first time.
Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Temple City Council for Thursday, May 3rd, 2018. Please rise as Pastor Paul Alexander, Church of the Living God, leads us in the invocation this evening, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Erica Perrine, Vice President of the Texas Nurses Association, District 7. Pastor.
On behalf of, I'm thankful to be here on this afternoon to respectfully the mayor and all the leaders of this fine city. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to extend this invocation. That being said, the scripture tells us to acknowledge God in all our ways and he will direct our paths. And that being said, let us pray about his word of prayer. Dear Lord, we are meeting today to conduct the matters of business. Bless our leaders as we with guidance and wisdom. We meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well. We acknowledge our members of this community fairly and help us to make decisions and promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future and the rights and the needs of each individual and each community member. As these are your trusted servants, we seek the blessings of our deliberations and our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well, guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right through the speech, impart our supreme wisdom upon our activities so that it may be fair, that we may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you, Lord, for being our source and guidance here today. Bless all that are assembled here, all the leaders and all the members that assemble here and throughout the community of this fine city. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. Now is the opportunity for public comments. Anyone wishing to address the council on any matter may do so prior to this meeting. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. No discussion or final action will be taken. Have Mr. Rod Henry.
Mayor Dunn, ladies and gentlemen of the Temple City Council, my name is Rod Henry. I reside at 2303 Fox Glen Lane, but I'm here today speaking as president of the Temple Chamber of Commerce. 14 years ago, planning began for the first Blooming Temple Festival. The show has had a few ups and downs, but, largely due to weather. 2 years ago, thank you to the Temple Parks and Recreation as well as the Temple City Council for your support in taking that effort over. And obviously this past weekend can be considered no less than a grand slam home run for Temple, Texas. The success of the 13th Blooming Temple Festival will be felt, and now it has set the bar even higher for what happens next year. It was exciting to walk the new Martin Luther King Festival field. It was nice to see the opportunity to expand the thousands of people who came out for this festival. It's also exciting, right on the heels of that, for the announcement of the Main Street program for Temple, Texas. And I'm anxious to see what happens on Saturday with the Cinco de Mayo Festival and how that likewise could be a major success for downtown Temple. There's so many to congratulate for this effort, but I start with you as members of the City Council and the preceding City Council members who gave your support to this effort for the whole effort of downtown Temple, the renaissance of downtown Temple. When I moved here 4 years ago, it didn't look like this. Actually, 5 years ago, it didn't look like this. So it's important that, I know you have a lot of business to do each and every meeting, but it's also important that you be recognized and thanked, as well as members, the associates with the City of Temple, our city manager, thank you, to the city parks, to our City Convention and Visitors Bureau, to just everybody within the City of Temple who made that happen. It's our congratulations to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. J.D. Zepner.
Yes, my name is J.D. Zebner. I reside at 402 South 26th Street in Temple. What brings me here tonight is an article and what I heard on the news this past weekend about the shot at the park at Wilson Park. And matter of fact, I think the first time I met Mayor Dunn was at the park at Wilson Park. You probably thought, who's that white boy there? But anyway,
Are you talking about me or you?
talking about me.
Let's check it
But that was back in 2012, and how time flies. And I know this, they say it was your last night, and thank you for being a great mayor, and I really appreciate it. The thing is, come to the point, be brief, I've bite my tongue on a lot of things, but I wish we could start getting some security cameras at Wilson Park and at Jeff Hamilton Park, because there has been violence of groups, individuals, gangs, whatever type of relation it is. But I think it would be a good idea to protect some of the citizens that's not used to that type of neighborhood that I reside in. I mean, after all, it's diversity, I guess. So to protect the interests of the properties and the values that the city puts into the parks, certain parks, not all parks, should have some type of security system, maybe a 5-10 day loop on record in case there's something goes in, citizens have a problem, or when the park staff notice some vandalism, that they might have a little clue of who might be doing this stuff. And like I said, there's a lot of details I could go into, but I just won't because we don't have enough time. But like I said, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for serving as a citizen to make our community a better place. And good luck on your future ventures.
Thank you, and I'm going to miss you, Zep.
Yeah, I'm going to miss you,
I'm kind of
too.
thinking about just signing up next time for public comments, and maybe you and I can...
We can
just-
tag team them, man.
Thank you a lot. Canceled.
That's populism for you. Anyway, item 4. Now we have the honor to. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to item 3. Got excited and a little misty with Zep here. It is National Nurses Week, and if we can have the ladies that are here for the proclamation approach the dais. We have Ms. Perrine, and then we have a very special lady that has a very important relationship with Councilmember Pilkington, and I have asked Mr. Pilkington, or Councilmember Pilkington, if he would read the proclamation. If you ladies would like to come up.
Thank you, Danny, for allowing this. As he just said, my wife is a nurse, so I've been married to a nurse for almost 25 years now, and I've seen the ups and the downs. I've seen joy when a really sick patient gets well, and I've seen the sadness when one doesn't happen so well. I've seen the all-nighters and the late-nighters, and I know what nurses go through, and I'm proud to be married to one, and proud to have the medical field being a big representation of our community. Whereas registered nurses in the United States constitute our nation's largest healthcare profession, the depth and breadth of the registered nursing profession meet the different and emerging healthcare needs of the American population in a wide range of settings. Whereas the American Nurses Association, as the voice for registered nurses in this country, is working to chart a new course for a healthy nation that relies on increasing delivery of primary and preventive health care. A renewed emphasis on primary and preventive health care will require better utilization of all of our nation's registered nursing resources. Whereas professional nursing has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component of the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients, and the demand for registered nursing services will be greater than ever because of the aging of the American population, the continuing expansion of life-sustaining technologies, and the explosive growth of home health care services. Whereas more qualified registered nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of health care consumers in this community, the cost-effective, safe, and high-quality health care services provided by registered nurses will be an increasingly important component of the U.S. healthcare delivery system in the future. And whereas the City of Temple, along with the American Nurses Association, the Texas Nurses Association District 7, has declared the week of May 6th through 12th as National Nurses Week with the theme Nurses Inspire, Innovate, Influence, in celebration of the ways in which registered nurses advocate for high-quality patient care and to map out the way to improve our healthcare system. And it's signed now, therefore, I, Daniel A. Dunn, Mayor of the City of Temple, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 6th through 12th, 2018 as National Nurses Week in the City of Temple, Texas, and I encourage all citizens to join me in honoring all of the registered nurses who care for us and to celebrate registered nurses' accomplishments and efforts to improve our healthcare system, and show our appreciation for the nation's registered nurses, and not just during this week, but at every opportunity throughout the year. In testimony whereof, I witness my hand in the seal of the City of Temple, Texas, this 3rd day of May, 2018, and it's signed Daniel A. Dunn, Mayor.
And we already know who you are, but would you like to introduce yourselves and talk about any activities that are going on during National Nurses Week, except for saving lives?
My name is Erica Perrin. I am a registered nurse. I work at Scott and White and over in Killeen, actually, so I do double duty. And then I also teach our future nurses over at Temple College. We just want to thank you on behalf of the Texas Nurse Association, the nurses of your local community. It's very special to be recognized. We really appreciate it and work very hard for you. And then I will give it over to Ms. Laurel. No? Thank you all.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, item 4, it's our honor to receive a presentation from Dr. Robin Battershell, Temple Independent School District Superintendent, on the state of the district.
Really, this is a combo. This is Dr. Bobby Ott and Dr. Robin Battershell. So I'm handing it over on July the 1st to Dr. Ott, and I'm just so pleased and proud that he will succeed me, and I know the district will be in great shape.
And I apologize for being a little late, but I think the parent I was visiting with did not have this on her schedule. So I apologize for that. Okay.
And I told Bobby, I said, welcome to the world of superintendencies. You're never quite on time like you used to be. Okay, what we wanted to do today was kind of tie a bow around the last 10 years. Ms. Long was on the school board when I was hired, and thank you, Susan, for giving me an opportunity. And
No, thank you.
Oh.
You've been the glory.
Thank you. And you're wearing blue today. How appropriate.
Okay, but before you start that, since Susan's already interrupted you, Susan wanted everyone to wear blue, and I do have blue in my tie, but it's my favorite tie, and it's my last meeting. And she's kind of chewed me out about it. But as I told her, I said, there's no one on the dais that bleeds blue more than I do. And I just want to say this before you even start, because I was going to say this at the end, but, you know, as mayor, I have had to walk the political tightrope of all of the school districts that fall into the Temple city limits. But if you don't mind me saying this, because this is my last day, go Wildcats. And I'm really glad that I can just continue to say that from here on out. So please.
And if you bleed blue, we have 2 here that can take your blood to make sure that occurs.
Yes, no problem. Anyway, sorry for that.
Okay, so for the last 10 years, and we're good, this is a map of Temple ISD, and I find it really, really interesting. The darker green area in the middle is TISD. The lighter green around is the city of Temple. So you can see, like Mayor Dunn was saying, that Temple ISD is just one of, I think, 5 school districts that are within the city of Temple. The brown areas on this one are as parts of the reinvestment zone. And what I wanted to show you are a couple of things, well, three things actually, is people always say, well, we have more schools on the west than we have on the east. And if you look at where our schools are located, they're all within the loop. So there really isn't an east or a west. They're all clustered within that loop. The second thing that I want to point out is within the reinvestment zone, or talking about the reinvestment zone, there are very, very few areas for Temple ISD to grow. You see that 60.59 square miles at the top. A comparison with Belton, because that's the school district that we're compared against, they have 198 square miles. That's a huge difference in school districts. And so for Temple ISD to grow, we either have to grow east or we have to grow up. And when I say grow up, as in 3, 4, 5-story buildings, and besides business buildings, that isn't something that we have gone down that path as far as apartments in this community. So that east development for us, that southeast development for us is huge. In the city, we're starting to make real strides on building that out. Judy and I have worked so much on so many things on that east side, so I'm really pleased. But that's kind of the lay of the land for Temple ISD. We have 4 departments in our school district. When Susan and the school board brought me in, my charges were to stabilize the school district and to put it in order and structure. And those aren't particularly sexy things, but they have to come in before you can build upon that. And so as part of that, the 4 departments are curriculum instruction, which Dr. Odd has run for the last 6 years. The second one is student services, and I put those 2 together because they really are student-centered. And then the other 2 departments that are support services are human resources and facilities and operations, or finance and operations, and that's how I will do this presentation. Underneath curriculum instruction, I'm giving you kind of the abbreviated version now. But we have a lot of different programs. But 2 of the programs I want to talk about are programs that we do because of Temple. Not Temple ISD, but Temple, the city of Temple. And those are the last 2. Blended learning is new for our school district, and it filters throughout the whole community, and this is something that we will need your assistance on. But blended learning is, again, that blend between technology and traditional education. To do that, in order for all of our students to have that access, to have internet access across our community is really big. Right now, they certainly have it within our schools, but a lot of them go home and they do not have that access. So that is a point that we as a community, Temple ISD being a part of that community, need to continue to work on. The other one is right above that, Project Diploma. And with this program, we serve students, and they are students, that are 22 years of age or older. In public education, by law, we serve through age 21. And so we take individuals who either have children in the school district or live within the Temple ISD boundaries, and we will help them get their high school diploma. The interesting thing is the state of Texas, up until this year, has required them to take the test from which they would have graduated under. So we had students that had graduated in the mid-1980s to early 1990s that still had to take the tax test. The state has now done away with that for a 1-year period of time, and they don't have to take the test. But Project Diploma this year, we think that we might have 26 graduates from from our community that have gone through that program, and they walk through across the stage like any other graduate from Temple High School. The reason that's important is we've talked about generational poverty. This is the cycle breaker. This is the thing that can break that cycle of poverty in our community. Results, 2008, 2017. We red, yellow, green, everything. Susan knows this. If you see a red, that means things aren't going well. If you see a yellow, that means there's improvement, but we're not there yet. Green means that we've made great strides. So when you see red on the 2008, for the 7th through 12th grade dropout rate, we were at 4.4%, and that's where we're at now. 9 through 12 dropout rate was 6.5. We're at 1.1% right now. Completion rate, 78.1 to 88.5. And I hear every once in a while someone says, well, you're just concentrating on at-risk kids. You don't have an SAT score that goes up by over 300 points if you're just focusing on at-risk children. Free and reduced lunch rate, interesting. It has gone up. There are 2 indicators of child success by research, by function of research. One of those is the income level of the home, and the second one is the educational level of the mother. I find those curious. So with the Project Diploma, we work on the educational level of the mother. And even with the free and reduced lunch rate going up, and actually that's down from last year because the year before that was 75%, almost 76%. But with that high and it going up, our educational, our academics has continued to rise. And then special education is another big one. It was at 18.8%, and regardless of what the Texas Education Agency says, there was a mandate to come down to 8%. And so we were at 8.8%. And you're going to see some rise in that because of changes in the federal statutes at this point. Second department, student services. We have three legs to our stool for student success. One of those is academics, the second one's behavior, the third one's attendance. We call them ABA. It's been the same goals for us for a very long time. So for curriculum and instruction, obviously academics is their A. For student services is behavior and attendance. Those are the two big goals that they work on. And on this pyramid that you see, all children receive the foundations and champs, and that's the basics for our classrooms. But I want to talk a little bit about the pinnacle of that pyramid, and that's TBRI. That's trust-based relational intervention. Several years ago, we had about 1% of our students that we had tried all kinds of things, and we were not successful. They were not successful. And by fluke, I was visiting with the assistant superintendent for Salado ISD. He's a foster parent, and with a lot of foster kids, they come in with a lot of baggage. And he said that the foster care system in Texas did training called TBRI. And the premise of that was that children get stuck at a certain developmental level because of some traumatic experience that occurred in their lives, and they're no longer able to form a relationship. And therefore, they are unable to work in society, to hold a job, to do well in school. It permeates everything within their lives. So I called TCU, which is the hub of TBRI, and I said, can a school district go through that? And they said no. And so persistence paid off. A couple years later, they said yes. And we are one of the very, very few districts in Texas that have TBRI, and we have trainers in our school district. We've sent 3 to date. And we're showing incredible success with kids that I didn't think would ever make it, and they're making it through the school year. Maybe it's not perfect, but they're going to make it and they're going to graduate. So what's our results on this one? They're all green. This is for last year alone. In-school suspensions went down 12.3%, out-of-school suspensions reduced by 7.8%, and disciplinary alternative school went down by 0.9%, almost 1%. It's working. Human services, or human resources, our third department. On the far left-hand side of the screen, well, let me preface this by saying we looked at a retention plan of 3 years ago, and it was controversial. And we looked at 7 things, according to our teachers and staff, that made them leave Temple ISD. And we talked about it publicly, and that wasn't really a popular thing to do. But what happened is we put action behind those words. The number one thing on that was student discipline. You just saw what we did on that one. The second one on that one was climate and culture, so we've worked a lot with our departments and our campuses on culture and climate. Number 4 was salary. Isn't that interesting? It wasn't number 1, 2, or 3. But in putting together a retention plan for our staff, we want to take care of them. On the far left-hand side, we put in a wellness program 2 years ago. Last year, our number one reason for referral to our medical system, Baylor Scott & White being our predominant one in this area, was back-related injuries. This last year, or this current year that we're in, our number one reason that people go to the doc is because of preventive health screenings. That's huge. That's a huge change. The second big push that we put in, besides those I talked about earlier, is staff daycare. We have a capacity of 46. We're at 46. So if someone is a staff member within Temple ISD, we will provide daycare for them. We went through NACCE certification this week. We think that we will get that, and so we will be one of the, I think really the only one between Austin, Lampasas, and Waco that has NACCE certified child care within their school system.
Dr. Battershell?
Yeah.
Is that available to all levels of staff?
Yes, sir.
Or just the teachers, or just
No, all
everybody?
levels. All levels.
Cafeteria workers, everybody?
Absolutely.
Staff member.
If you want a high, just go down the hall of Dixon. You'll see a series of gates in the doorways. And if you stand there long enough, you will see little fat legs come toddling towards you with arms up, and it will make your whole day. But anyway, staff daycare has been huge for us. So what's happened because of that? 2 years ago, we were at 25% turnover rate. Last year, 22.1. Well, 2 years ago, 22.1, and now we're down at 18.8 will be our projection for this year, so it's working. You see yellow, because that's not our goal. Our goal is to be below 15%.
And that's a huge cost savings when you talk about training new staff every year, right? If you don't have to train that many staff, that's a huge cost savings, huge investment for the district.
Yeah. And when you have kids from at-risk homes, the stability in school is huge, and that provides the stability. Fourth department, finance and operations. In 2008, there was a bond. It was passed before I came, and I just finished up the bond, and the board did when I came. These were some of the things that were done in that bond. In 2011, another bond was passed, but the big magic on this one is that little light blue box on the right-hand side. We did master planning for every facility within Temple ISD, and we knew at that point in time it'd be a 3-phase bond project. This is phase 1 of that, and these were some of the things that were done. And I hope as you drive around town you enjoy them. Look at Jefferson, look at Travis, what a pleasure. In 2013, not a bond, but tax ratification election. Again, the voters graciously approved that. And these are the items that were done with that. Important again, blue box. There's a maximum M&O tax rate of $1.17. We asked for $1.12 because that's what we needed. We didn't ask for anything more than what we needed. You'll see there's a capacity of 5 cents, and I'm going to come back to that here in just a little bit. Bond 2015, that's the second phase of that master planning that we did in 2011. These are some of the things that were done there. This is Thornton. It is our green campus. It is fueled through geothermal, and you'll see a wind turbine up there. You'll see a solar power. We see a water catchment system. And the planter down at the bottom is hydroponics, and those are vegetables. Don't think anything otherwise. Those are vegetables in that hydroponic system. Bond 2015, this is a look at the new Career Center that will be finished before the beginning of this school year. 130,000 square feet for career and technology. Cool factoid, we have about 2,200 students at our high school. 1,800 of them take some type of a career and technology course. It is no longer, do you get a career or do you go to college? You get a career, and sometimes college is the route to that career. Other things in that bond is, again, with the new Career and Technology Center, this is one of 3 teaching kitchens. Fine arts. This will be the new band hall. It will come off the west side of that campus, and the entire interior fine arts area will be renovated. The reason I put this one in here is this is another combination project between the city and Temple ISD, and I cannot say enough how important that relationship is. Whoever sits in your chairs or in our chairs, it is absolutely critical because we serve the same people. But on this one, we are trying to find egress onto I-35 because if you travel on 31st Street between 3:30 and 4:30, it's not pleasant. And so we are in preliminary planning stages with a large group of people on trying to find a way to get onto I-35 and to get people into Temple High School without having left turns and bogging out or piling up into that intersection at Adams and Central. 2017 Reinvestment Zone Collaborative, again, huge collaborative. It took about 7 or 8 years to get this off the ground, and I am so grateful for it. We are your partners in that reinvestment zone, as you well know. We're glad to be your partners. This is a benefit for Temple ISD, of that partnership. This is the new administration building, obviously, downtown. We hope to be into that probably mid-November. We'll get keys mid-October, and by the time we get furniture and stuff in, probably mid-November. Okay, future. Salary support. The state right now funds us at about 32% of our total budget. So that other 68% we pay for through local dollars. And so if we're going to continue to pay our teachers and be competitive with other school districts, it has to come from local dollars because at this point in time, as I stand before you, that's not going to come from the state. Now, I may have a nice surprise next spring, but as of this point in time, I don't see that happening because there's going to have to be another revenue source of the state, and I don't see that happening right now. The only way that we can do that is with another tax ratification election. Remember I told you there was another 5 cents there? That's probably what the school district and Dr. Ott would be obviously heading that, is to go up to that full $1.17, and that would allow us for multiple years to continue to give a 2 or 3% increase to our teachers. Mr. Palmer, who's head of the HR department, did a study of this local area. School districts is interesting because some of them front load their salaries. Our salaries really do go up over time. Some, they really level out at about 5 years. But we've got to be competitive to get the best teachers in here. It cost us about $1.3 million in order to give a 1%, about 2% increase for our teachers.
And we've been real competitive with facilities. You've seen that with the series of 3 bonds. We've been competitive in student programs. I would rank our student programs and opportunities up next to any district, anywhere around us or beyond. This is a place where we need to be more competitive, and that's for our staff.
The state right now pays, their minimum base for teachers is $28,050. That's for people with bachelor's and master's degrees. That's ridiculous. Now, school districts in this area, besides some of the very small smaller districts, we're all paying $40,000 above, but that extra, that all comes from local dollars. All of it does. Okay, other things that are coming up. Demographic study. Temple ISD has not had to have one. We haven't had growth in Temple ISD. But I'm glad to stand before you and say I think there's growth coming in the next 2 to 3 years. So we will need to do a demographic study, and I know that we will try to work with the city on that study because we all benefit from that. And that includes a possible land purchase on that south or southeast side and the possible building of a new school over there too, probably a new elementary school. And then 2021, that may be 2022 bond. We'll see how that comes out. But these are the areas. And you'll see that's completion, Phase 3 construction, Phase 2 construction. Again, when that master planning was done in 2011, we said it'd be a 3-phase project. So this completes those projects. It would give us the new elementary school in the southeast quadrant. And then I'd like to see handicapped accessible playgrounds as well. We have done a community-wide survey, a perception study that all that information is now in. I think we met our numbers as far as our sample size, and so we'll be working on a marketing plan, a communication plan for our community, and that will come out again under Dr. Ott's supervision, but that will come out probably first part of next fall. Okay.
I guess in closing, I just want to say I look forward to the opportunity. Bryn probably didn't realize that she would have a new best friend, but I've been communicating with her probably more than she wants in the last couple days or so, but that's been going well. As we go, you go. As you go, we go. And, I can't think of 2 entities that are relied upon more than the city and the school district. So I'm gracious for this opportunity and look forward to work with you well into the future. Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Danny, enjoy your retirement because
Yeah,
I'm going to enjoy mine.
congratulations, Dan.
No,
And
Dr.
congratulations to Tim and Brent. I didn't have a chance to congratulate them. I know it's been a while, but congratulations to them as well. So.
Dr. Battershell, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for turning the aircraft carrier around. Also, Susan, for your work. Dan Posey, school board members in the audience, thank you for your leadership. And Dr. Ott, you've become a good friend, and wish you all the best because you have a wonderful school district and a wonderful heritage that's behind you.
He won't ever be on time again, but he'll have a great time doing it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Item 5 is a consent agenda. All items listed under this section are considered to be routine by the City Council and may be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member and will be considered separately. Council, this is item 5A through 5M. Is there anything anyone wishes to pull from the agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion on item 5.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion to second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington.
Aye.
Councilmember Morales.
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. Item 6, a resolution. Consider adopting a resolution authorizing a construction contract with Tex Global Contractors of Fort Worth for services required to extend Phase 2 Westfield Boulevard in the amount of $2,235,721.15. And I know that this is for voting purposes, and if there are no questions, I will entertain a motion on item 6.
Motion to approve item 6 is read.
Second that motion.
Motion to second, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington.
Abstain.
Councilmember Morales.
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. Item 7, consider adopting a resolution pursuant to Chapter 2206 Government Code 2206.053, finding that one property situated in the G.W. Graves Survey, abstract number 355, Bell County, Texas, is necessary for the proposed expansion of Old Howard Road from Central Point Parkway to Moores Mill Road, as well as an expansion of Moores Mill Road from Old Howard Road to Interstate 35, and authorizing the use of eminent domain to condemn the property. And we have had a staff request to table this, and I will entertain a motion on item 7.
Move to table item 7.
Second.
Motion to second, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington.
Aye.
Councilmember Morales.
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. Item 8, a second reading and a public hearing. Consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a rezoning with a site development plan from General Retail Zoning District to Planned Development General Retail Zoning District to allow the following commercial uses: major vehicle repair, equipment sales and rentals, auto sales, auto and truck rental, Freeman Heights, Block 30, Lot 3 through 6, located at 311 South 25th Street, Temple, Texas. And we have also had a request to table this item as well, but we are scheduled for a public hearing, and I will open the public hearing at this time. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your address, state your name and address for the record. There being no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the second reading of item 8, and we have had a staff request to table.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Table.
Table. The table.
Second. Table.
We have a motion and a second, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington.
Aye.
Councilmember Morales.
Aye.
Mayor Dunn.
Aye. Item 9, a first reading and a public hearing. Consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the annexation of 1.310 acres of land out of the William Gilmore Survey, abstract number 339, Bell County, Texas, in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of Temple, Bell County, Texas, located at 2391 FM 1237. Ms. Lyerly.
Mayor and council members, and as you mentioned, Mayor, this is for voluntary annexation, and the property owner is Janet Clark, and this is at 2391 FM 1237. Tonight is the first reading in public hearing, and then the second reading is scheduled for May 17th. And on the screen, I have a picture or an aerial where this property is located. It's at the top of the screen. You can see the little blue area where it's designated on FM 1237. It's actually north of Moores Mill Road, and you can see that it's just up north along Brewster Road, where Brewster Road intersects FM 1237. So that gives you a little idea of where this property is located. And the applicant is subject to the 2008 development agreement that deferred annexation until development is proposed or expiration of the agreement, and that expires in 2020. The property owner was Royce Oliver, who owned the property that Janet Clark bought the property from. And so the property is also subject to the platting process, which that is currently being reviewed through the DRC process. And so this has gone through the process, the review for a municipal service plan, and the municipal service plan does not propose any capital improvement plans by the City of Temple. And so this is the survey of the property on the screen, and the bolded area is the property that belongs to Janet Clark, which is the subject property for this voluntary annexation. As I mentioned, you can see the property surrounding it is owned by Royce and Diane Oliver. So because she bought the property from them, that's why we're here today. And so I just have the annexation schedule on the screen. The resolution was approved by City Council to direct staff to develop a municipal service plan. That was done in February on the 15th. of this year, and then it was reviewed by, the municipal service plan was reviewed by all relevant departments, and there were no issues associated with the municipal service plan. And so now we're at the end of the schedule. So tonight, as I mentioned, is the first reading and public hearing, and then the next meeting on May 17th will be the last reading for this request. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Thank you, Ms. Larley. Council, any questions? All right. There being no questions, I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. There being no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the first reading of item 9.
Move to approve item 9 as read.
Second.
Motion to second, Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington?
Aye.
Councilmember Morales?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn?
Aye. Item 10, first reading and a public hearing. Consider adopting an ordinance amending ordinance number 2017-4870 to attach a site plan showing a 1,500 square foot building to be located on Lot 1, Block 1, Cox Center subdivision, addressed as 830 FM 2271, Temple, Texas. Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Just some background information on this property. Again, this was a rezoning of approximately 1 acre from agricultural to planned development neighborhood service. And as you may recall, this was fairly recently, last October, and was approved through ordinance 2017-4870. This land was later platted, again, also very recently as the Cox Center final plat, and it was the creation of a one-lot subdivision. This was recorded in February. The DRC Design Review Board has, or committee rather, has reviewed this site plan on March 19th, and the rezoning ordinance does require a public review of the site development plan. But just some photographs. You may remember these from the rezoning that came through last fall. Again, the photograph on the left is looking at the site from FM 2271, and the photograph to the right is looking toward the property on the north and does show an existing solid wood fence. So in terms of the site plan, a 30 by 50 building footprint, approximately 1,500 square feet, is being proposed. This building is set back approximately 103 feet from the frontage of FM 2271. Both water and sewer are available to serve this property, and our Public Works Department has indicated that the 2-inch water line would be sufficient for the proposed use, primarily occupying by a barber shop or similar service. Other retail services that may come in would be sufficient as well. In terms of parking, this is as an office use, 1 space per 300 square feet of gross floor area. Based on 1,500 square feet, 5 spaces are required, and the site plan is providing for 10 at a base ratio of 1 space per 150 square feet. In terms of landscaping, the listed plant materials are acceptable through under the UDC. Staff did identify that minor relocations of shrubs may be necessary for screening and buffering, and a suggested condition to address that is being proposed. Also, the vertical clearance that is required under the fire code for city code, into the city code of ordinances is acceptable. It's a 13-foot 6-inch vertical clearance. The applicant has agreed to enhance trees and landscaping materials along the north property line. This would be part of that relocation, but would also address the buffering and screening that is required. Applicant's also proposing a 6-foot solid wood fence along 90 feet along the southern property line. And access will be from a 20-foot wide access drive from FM 2271 and would connect to the 850 FM 2271, which is the property to the west. Again, this property, the second property, is not currently under consideration for development and would require review of that property under a site plan if and when it gets developed. The southernmost drive is permitted by TxDOT as a 30-foot wide driveway, and upon permit issuance, the northern driveway will be removed by TxDOT, and construction of the southern driveway is the responsibility of the property owner at 830 FM 2271. In terms of the building materials, the front elevation, seen on the top elevation, primarily be provided with stone. This will be to a height of 7 foot 2 inches. 4 10-foot high cedar posts will be provided supporting a roof line extension, and this will help to provide the overall residential appearance, which was one of the requirements or conditions of the zoning ordinance. The south elevation will have metal siding with a 3-foot height of wainscoting that will extend back 15 feet from the front of the building. And on the north and the west elevations, be primarily metal. Specifically on the north side, no stone will be provided due to the enhanced landscaping, and that elevation would not be visible. And the same would go on the western side. The site plan does reference signage. There's a proposed freestanding sign or monument type sign, approximately 40 square feet. This is shown as approximately 55 feet back from the 2271 right-of-way at a height of a maximum height of 10 foot. This is required per ordinance. The review of that sign is not being done or would be applicable under this permit review. It's there for information, and a separate permit would be required to confirm those requirements to the UDC. And the sign would have to be externally illuminated or be restricted to external illumination. As part of this site plan review, public notice was sent out. 20 notices were sent out to those property owners. One notice was returned that was undeliverable and is referenced by the blue U across from 2271. So again, the conditions under Ordinance 2017-4870 are still in effect. Conditions 1 through 6 have been met or confirmed to have been met, and conditions 7 and 8 would be confirmed during the building permit review. So staff is recommending that while the requirements of the ordinance are still in effect, staff recommends approval to amend the ordinance to attach the site plan for this 1,500 square foot building, subject to the following additional condition, and that would provide flexibility for the Director of Planning and be authorized to approve minor changes to the development site plan layout, which would include, but not limited to, overall lot layout, landscaping, exterior building elevation materials, parking configuration, buffering, and screening materials, all of which would need to be in compliance with the minimum UDC development standards. On April 2nd, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 8-0 to approve per staff's recommendation with the added condition. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available should you have any questions, and the applicant is also available in the audience.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Council, any questions? All right. There being no questions, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. There being no one wishing to speak, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Council, your pleasure on the first reading of item 10.
Motion to approve item 10.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Councilmember Long?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Pilkington?
Aye.
Councilmember Morales?
Aye.
Mayor Dunn?
Aye. Is that the last? Is that really the last one? Can we do another one? Just kidding. If I could say, as I have mentioned 25 times in the past hour, that this is my last meeting, and first I'd like to thank everyone on this city council. It has been an honor to serve with you, and I have always appreciated the fact that we have worked together to make Temple a better place, and even when we have not agreed, we have always left this chamber as friends, and that is what I would hope would continue. I don't think Jessica's too much of a troublemaker, so I don't know. But Jessica, I do welcome you on the city council. Mayor-elect Davis, you're going to do a great job. I would just encourage everyone to always vote their hearts. And even though it is, when you're wrong, please feel free to admit that you're wrong. But when you're right, don't be afraid to admit that you're right as well, and and stand by it. To the council appointees that are here, Tracy, I still can't read one of your spreadsheets, but I know that there's always money in the bank, and I'm very appreciative for your fiscally conservative management of our budget. Bryn, you continue to amaze me with your knowledge and your ability to do just about anything that is required of you. And it has been one of my greatest joys as mayor was being able to see you become city manager, because you are amazing. Kayla, an equal honor that I have had was having the opportunity along with the council to promote Jonathan Graham so we could promote you to city manager, because you have blown us all away with your knowledge and your grace and your experience. And Lacey, it's like I'm losing my girl. Yeah, I mean, and I don't mean that in forgive the misogynistic tone of that. Lacey has taken care of me for 5 years, and I love you all, but Lacey, there is a special place in my heart for you, and although I do think that maybe you and my wife talk to each other a little too much about things. And I promise I'm wrapping this up, but I just want to say a few things. Former council member Admiral Marty Janczak was my mentor from my earliest moments, and thank you, Marty, for everything. Commissioner Schuman, you have been great to work with the county, and thank you for all that you have done. And to the staff that are in the audience, anything that the city council or the city as a whole has done and looked good about it, it's because of the staff that we have. And whether you were in planning, whether you are in the police department, whether you were my new best friend Gloria, I wish this would have started like 5 years ago. Any success that we have as a community is based on the 1,000 people that work here. And I am so proud to call you all friends, or at least I hope you can. And I hope that you truly know, and I won't call you out individually in the audience, how much you are all appreciated. Temple is a growing community, and it's my hope that we will continue to grow well. We are a diverse and a progressive community, and I would take this time that in the divisiveness that we live with daily in the country, I don't think we need to live with that in Temple, Texas. And so when you find yourself disagreeing with someone, I wish that you would look for the similarities that you have and not the differences, because I think that this is what this city is based on, and it certainly is the city when I was a kid that I wanted to be mayor of, and that's what I've always thought. And so with that, I will...
No, don't gavel us out yet.
It's not yours yet.
I've sat beside you for 5 years. I deserve to have a chance to say something.
Okay.
Not all of it's for the public, by the way. I came in as a total newbie, and I leaned on you often for help and for guidance and for maybe a little clarity on some of the issues that either I didn't agree with or that I didn't understand. and you always took the time to explain it and answer my questions in only the way that Danny Dunn can in some instances. But I've always appreciated your insight and your foresight and frankly, your understanding of the needs of everybody in town, not just those that are maybe the loudest or those that are more involved or whatever they are. You are concerned about all of the citizens, and not every mayor can pull that off. And so, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate the work that you've done for the citizens, but also with me. It means a lot to me. Really, I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
Danny, I want to say you were one of the ones that I called when I was considering a run for council, and you kind of helped convince me that I could do it, that this is something I can do, and I really appreciate that. Joy to work with you, and
Well, you've been on every board in town. You knew more about it than any of the rest of us. But thank you. I appreciate that.
and I hope you'll give the new Mayor Davis a little class in the proper way to say the Pledge of Allegiance, since he'll be standing behind me, because I'm going to miss that. But
Yeah. Well,
there's no comma between
I'll
under
talk to
God.
him. I will, yeah, okay. We'll get him with the Boy Scouts or whatever they're called this week.
But I've appreciated serving with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Danny,
Yes, ma'am.
as I said before, many times, your wisdom, your maturity, your knowledge, your heart is like an old man, but you're not an old man. You're beyond your years, and you've shared that with us, and you've really guided us. And I think the most important thing is what Tim has said, is that you really care about the city and care about everyone, no matter what walks of life they've come from or where they're at. They're important to you, and I can see that, and I think the citizens can see that. And you were concerned about making sure that our city is balanced and that we are serving all the citizens the best we can. And your guidance to me and to kind of help me kind of slow me down a little bit has been very helpful. I really appreciate you, and I know that you might be out there with James, but that's okay. We'll let you get up there and say your 3 minutes.
I wish you would have listened more.
Well, I tried, but no, you've done.
Thank you.
Really, thank you. Thank you.
Well, Danny, I know that you will be flabbergasted to hear, but I can't add anything that they haven't said. You'll be so missed. You've been terrific, and thanks for all your help.
Can I end the meeting now before I start to cry? Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege. This is a wonderful community, as I've stated. Remember, always work for the common good, and Temple is a wonderful place. This meeting is adjourned.